Much like football, information security is a team sport, and the best teams have strong players in all positions. Information security teams need to perform as a unit to fulfill their role, which ultimately is to protect and support their business so they can focus on what they do best and thrive securely. Hi, I'm Alex Malbon, founder and CEO at Zero Day. Zero Day is the first work platform built specifically for information security teams. One of the key objectives of the platform is to help our customers manage and run a high-performing information security team. High-performing for us means being able to work in smart ways, being able to collaborate seamlessly, and being able to get more work done at a level of quality that adds real value. Today I'm joined by Jess Simnett. Welcome, Jess. Jess is a UEFA certified football coach, working with players and coaches to help them work together as a team and also get the results that they want. I'm super excited to have you here, Jess. Really interested to hear today about your experience, about the strategies and the tactics that you employ to get that high performance out of teams, and see if we can have a look at how that may apply in the world of cybersecurity. So Jess, tell us a bit about yourself and what you do.
Thanks for having me, Alex. So my name's Jess Simnett. I work for the FA. My official title is Talent Technical Coach for the North East. But what that really means is I'm primarily a player developer, but I'm currently writing a strategy to help discover and unearth female footballers with the potential to play for England.
What makes a high-performing football team?
Okay, so I would say primarily it's underpinned by the culture and the environment that you create. But what it might look like is all your players, all your staff, so your multidisciplinary team, your coaches, your physios, your physical performance coaches, all working in unison towards a shared goal. So you might have this unified sense of purpose and everyone knows their role, everyone's responsible and accountable to their role. There's open methods and open channels of conversation and communication, and a continuous, evolving environment that allows for review and change and developing and making progress and moving forwards towards something better and something greater. Yeah,
that makes sense. I think I see that a lot in and have done over the years with cybersecurity teams, where they're working on a tiny piece of technology or something that that they're kind of looking at something so small and not seeing the bigger picture. A lot of the time with cybersecurity teams, or actually all the time with cybersecurity teams, they're trying to support the business and what the business does. So I think it's the same in the cyber world. They need to understand what the business objectives are, and they need to make sure that when they're performing their tasks and doing their work, that they're playing to those objectives as well. How do you communicate goals and objectives to the teams and the players?
So there are a few considerations that we need to make. Firstly, your target audience, and secondly, how you present the information. So in terms of your target audience, the players that you're working with, you've got to consider the age, their level across their developmental journey, and what kind of information they need right here, right now. And then in terms of how it's presented, we on camps we might use footage, so we might show the players footage of themselves, footage of opposition, and we might ask them to complete reviews and involve them in the process of setting goals and objectives rather than just communicating directly to them.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that communication part and making sure that everyone understands that they're pushing in the same direction. They understand the overarching objectives and the strategy you're trying to put into place. We see that in high performing cybersecurity teams. Everyone understands what the business is doing. They understand the objectives and strategies of the cyber team themselves, or the information security team themselves. And with that information, you have them working together. I can imagine players and teams when they don't kind of have that understanding and it hasn't been communicated to them, you probably don't get the results you want.
Yeah, that's right. And I suppose you've got to make sure that the information that you give is so clear and concise that they do take it on board and they're able to then go and implement it.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. How do you balance the needs of the individual players while still ensuring they're working towards the overall team's objectives?
Okay, so with our national teams, we work off a blueprint. So, for instance, like an overriding philosophy, and all our teams are playing and working towards this one philosophy. The team's goals and objectives then will be pulled down from that, and likewise, the players' individual targets will be linked to that overriding philosophy as well.
Okay. Could you give us a couple of examples maybe of the team objectives and some of the player objectives?
Yeah, just to give you like a brief example. Say, for instance, if your team is wanting to play out from the back, so we might have pulled off from our blueprint that we want to retain and build. So when the ball's with the goalkeeper, we're looking to play out either through our centre halves or our full-backs and retain the ball rather than playing long. So for individuals, for instance, if we're looking at individual targets for our centre halves or our full-backs, we're looking for them to be really expansive really quickly and play forwards off their first touch.
How do you address challenges when the teams you work with aren't getting the results they want?
So firstly, I think it goes back to the culture that underpins what you do and the level of trust within your team. So your environment needs to be conducive to the fact that you can openly discuss these challenges and look to review them. So often on international camps, we will perform rapid reviews. So they would involve like a what went well, looking at even better ifs, and then some changes for next time. But in order for that to be productive, there's got to be that level of trust for open conversation, open communication, and people being accountable for certain things.
So it's all about them having the confidence to I guess own up when things go wrong, the confidence to be able to kind of take ownership of those things and work through them as a team.
Yeah, and it's almost like it's conflict resolution. So you're providing a solution to the problem.
Yeah.
That is not. You don't want it to be an environment where it's finger pointing. People have got to be feeling comfortable and trust the fact that there's not going to be any repercussions from accepting responsibility for certain things or identifying a weakness or a problem.
I think it was really interesting you mentioned about being comfortable acknowledging when there's problems. Certainly in the information security world, when you think about hacks and data breaches and things like that, often it's not a case of if it's going to happen to a company. It's a case of when. This stuff happens, on such a large scale these days. And the culture has to support that. The people in the teams need to understand that if that does happen, it's okay. It happens, and they have to work together to get through it. Is there anything that kind of rings true with that in the football world?
Yeah, definitely. So with our under-15s, for instance, on camp, we had this saying: every camp, the only mistake is not making one. So they immediately feel comfortable and. Like, we're expecting them to make mistakes, but it's just how you move forward with them and learn from them.
What's your greatest achievement in the sport?
My greatest achievement probably stems back to when I was a kid. So as a youngster, if you were to ask me what I wanted to do, I wanted to coach for England. And I think I had a key moment on one of my first England camps where I felt a great sense of achievement singing the national anthem pitchside as part of my job. It was like the pinnacle for me, but it goes deeper than that now. So day in, day out, it's the small things. So in terms of my achievements on a daily basis, is I've got a little girl now, and back when I played as a kid, the opportunities were few and far between. So I had to play in boys football. There wasn't any girls teams. There weren't many opportunities for me, and you constantly came up against roadblocks or barriers. So I think I show up every day to make sure that young girls across the country, like my little girl, hopefully one day, if she should wish to, has the opportunity to play in a world of football that we're proud of, and where it's the norm. So it's not questioned. It's not questioned that she's a girl or a female. And I think we're going in the right direction. We're not really there yet, but I think my greatest achievement is making sure and contributing to that day in, day out.
I love that. I think it certainly resonates with me as well as a father with a young daughter, and the idea that she doesn't, wouldn't be able to do what she wants to do. I hate that. So I love what you said there. I think as well, like just going back to kind of the cyberspace, I would say that it's definitely getting more diverse. And I think that's really is a good thing. There's definitely a kind of drive I see, kind of promoting and encouraging women to get into technology, which again I'll get the daughter on at some point. But yeah, no, I think it's definitely going in the right direction, and having diversity. And I guess maybe as well, right, in a football team, you need that diversity to make the magic happen, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's only a positive thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. What's the most important factor for getting the most out of a football team?
I would say, probably without a shadow of a doubt, that it is trust, and trust within the environment that you create. So when you've got trust, you're able to build relationships. You're able to, like we mentioned previously, open up channels of communication that maybe you wouldn't have before. And it opens up like a higher level of working and higher level of thinking when people feel comfortable and relaxed in an environment, and they're able to be themselves. So I think that's really important. Not only that, like the trust shows that as a leader, you care about the people that are within your team. So whether it's players, whether it's staff, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So for me, it's always people first, and the players even, they are people before they're players. So trust, building relationships, and building the right environment that sort of just nurtures that throughout.
Information security is such a big and complex area. I see a lot of, for people that aren't in this space, they'll see things in the paper where there's a data breach or some company is taken down with a malware attack, and some of a lot of people have themselves been affected by it. But what I find is that it's almost kind of a mysterious, mysterious kind of form of crime, or it's a mystery as to how cybercrime and just more generally information security is dealt with. It's really complex. There's lots of moving parts. There's lots of different people involved. As you look at larger and larger companies, they have teams and teams of people working on this stuff, full time. Some of these people are working 24/7, just so that business can continue to sell stuff through its website or manufacture things for its customers. From what we've kind of talked through today, Jess, I kind of feel like football might be the same. I've learned some things today that's kind of really opened my eyes. I think football's got such a big following. I think a lot of people don't really scratch the surface on it. Would that be true at all?
Yeah, definitely. People underestimate the work that goes on behind the scenes and the level of detail that goes into what you see for 90 minutes. So, for instance, like our staff teams at youth level might consist of around 12 members of staff. You might have a physio, you might have a physical performance coach, education officers, because the kids still need to be educated whilst they're away with us, assistant coach, head coach, analyst, so somebody who's looking at the opposition or producing footage of our games prior to the game that we're going into, and then presenting it back to us as a staff team or to the players. We have a team ops, like a team manager, who oversees like all the operations. Without all these amazing people, like you wouldn't even get to those 90 minutes that you see on the pitch. And they all play like a crucial role in what it takes to achieve a high-performing team.